hello, and welcome to Breakthrough TV with Latricia Clarissa Davis. I'm your host, and I am excited because today we are here doing a very special series with the next generation now woman. That's right, we're in a season where God is calling women to rise, to come forward, to be who He created us to be, and we have to be that woman right now. We can't make excuses, we can't pretend as if we don't know, and we can't stay held bound to the version of ourselves that no longer serves us. So guess what? I'm bringing the next generation of powerful women before you. Oh, and by the way, they are my daughters. These special young women are powerful, they're beautiful, they have something to share. There's a message that's inside of them. And I'm grateful and honored that you've chosen to be with us. Are you ready? Let's get started. At this level, do you feel like there's a greater expectation on you because of how life in society is evolving around you?
I think the pressure comes from my own self, if that makes sense. Like, I want to be so good to me that that's where my pressure comes from. It's not really anyone looking at me. And then after the pressure comes from me, I think the pressure comes from my children. They're not necessarily saying anything, but because I'm responsible for them, is that it has that natural pressure, which is a good pressure, because it's like I can't fail because they're looking at me. Not so much of becoming so super great that everybody knows my name. I don't need to be famous, but just to know that they could look at me and say, my mom never gave up. My mom always made a way out of no way. My mom, even if we had struggling moments, I had no idea. Like, I would love for them to say that. And so that's what makes me like go hard. That's the pressure that comes from me.
Yeah, I would say, I never really thought about it that way. Like, my pressure comes from, I want to say, like, God and what God has for me, making sure that I can say that I make God proud. Like, there's something that I've been repeating to myself lately, which is like just the idea of getting to heaven, and like not just getting to heaven, like, oh, I made it, I'm in, yes. But God was okay, but did you do everything that I wanted you to do? And so like I've been repeating this thing of like, when I get to heaven, I'm gonna be able to say that I did it. Mm-hmm. It's like that's like the pressure that I feel is that, because I don't think I really had anyone pushing me to like be my best self. Mm-hmm. I would say though that I've always found myself around people who were doing really well, and that was just a blessing that I didn't get to choose. That, but it helped me, I guess, have the standard of like I can't fall too short because the people around me are doing real well. So I'm like, that's a blessing that might even be God, like just knowing how like I was gonna be my struggle and put that into place so that I can have that. But yeah, it's very much making sure that I can say, okay, God, you gave a lot to me. I want to make sure that I put all of that out. I do what I'm supposed to do and help. I help who I'm supposed to help. Yeah. That's like where it stems from.
Yeah. Growing up, and it's so funny because my sister and I will joke about this all the time. Somebody will meet us and like, oh, you're such and such's daughter. Mm-hmm. And we're like, my name is Taylor. And then it's like, your mom is this person. And we're like, again, my name is Taylor. Nice to meet you. And having that mother that is like powerful and she's bomb, it also has like so many expectations that come with it. And so trying to fulfill up to my mother's shoes and like what she's done, but then my mother having conversations with me and saying, you're gonna be better than me, because that's what she has always said, you're my daughter and I want you to be better than anything that I've ever done. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, woof.
No pressure.
Yeah, like no pressure. And so it's like making sure I reach that next milestone, and then looking at other people who are saying, you're doing this, so when are you gonna do this? Or how are you gonna do this? And it's like, wow, this is a lot. But then actually realizing that I know for myself personally, I can only do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I don't want anybody pressure me into something that I know is probably not right for me, but also knowing that I'm gonna give my best no matter what. And if I give my best, that's honestly my happiness right there, that I went ahead and conquered X, Y, and Z knowing it was for me and not for, other people. And that's other standards that other people may have for you, on you, or think about you because you may, be around certain people, or you have a certain job, or your family is of this person. It's not necessarily who everybody else is. It's a benefit, but it's not defining who you are. So that would be my main pressure.
Oh, I completely agree with the pressure of being your mother's level. You know, same thing, being greeted and being compared to your mother. It's an amazing thing. Pressure when you're young though, because it doesn't start when you're an adult. It starts when you're a young child. You're like, oh, when are you gonna do this? And it's like, it's literally not possible for me to be at that level at 10, 15. You know, like I can't do that right now. But I felt pressure from my parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles to present myself a certain way growing up in the church, with all family who have titles in the church. You know, you can't be a certain way around other people, around them at school. So it was the pressure of being this perfect person, almost, even though it's not possible to be perfect, but trying at least. Also being educated and being better than your family. I have a large family, so the pressure was to be better. And I was the only girl growing up out of all of the grandchildren until now, the last few years. So that's been a pressure to be around all boys. They're all looking at me to kind of lead the way. Also being a bigger sister, the pressure of that to at least come off as always trying, never wanting to give up, never making it seem like life is too hard. And then I would say during my childhood, that would be my pressure. As an adult, I'm putting pressure on myself now when it comes to creating a lifestyle that I enjoy, that pleases me, not for other people. So I think it was that shift of, as a child, you're trying to please everyone. As an adult, you're trying to please yourself, you know, with grace, of course, to your family and friends. So definitely the pressure with school, with work, same thing with Taylor, same being better than you or higher. You know, making their ceiling our floor is a lot of pressure because we have to start out great and we have to always be great. So you never feel like you can have a weak moment or at least show it. So that's a pressure. But the expectations, I feel like, fall in line with the pressure too. So then you mentioned the expectations.
And I was gonna build off like what you were saying, the you two were saying about your mom. As I've gotten older, I think my mom has been someone that people do know. But I want to say, even being younger, even now, I've never really felt that pressure. And I think she purposely also didn't want me to have a certain pressure because I think she felt a certain pressure growing up of like supposed to be like this something. And so I don't think she wanted that for me. So it's just interesting to hear like your perspective. But like for me, I was just always like, I'm gonna be me. but it's like I've also never had some of those positive conversations of like, I want you to be better than me. Like so there's a positivity that comes along with that too that I didn't necessarily have. But I was just interesting. You know, there's a different side.
Wow, I don't think as mothers we realize the pressure. And it's so funny because I think about as I was growing up, you know, my mom, my whole experience was very different. I had to grow up really, really quickly. So by the time I was 13, I was, you know, helping my mom, supporting her. She had got sick. And then by the time 16, I was able to run a household. I was doing grocery shopping. Like that was my life at 16. So I had to mature very quickly. And I think because I had to accomplish things younger, I was always like going. So when I started to have my children, I was like, I want them to enjoy childhood. You know what I mean? I want them to understand what life looks like, but be able to embrace it on their terms, but also set an expectation that, again, you don't get to settle. Yeah. And, you know, mediocrity, like you said, is not an option, and giving up is not an option, even though life gets hard. And I think as mentors, as mothers, talk to our audience today, that it's our responsibility to hear our daughters as they speak to us, to set the expectation for them, but also I think it's important to equip them and also to release them to do it their way. Because that was a challenge for me, having adult children, you know, having a daughter who says, Mom, I respect your opinion, but I need to do this my way. And it was like, but no, like my opinion is,
I got the blueprint.
Right, I got it. Like, do you understand? Like, so it was, I'm asking, so I have to ask the questions now. When y'all come to me and say, you know what, Mom, I want to talk to you about something. So I have to say, okay, do you want me to be your trusted advisor in this moment? Do you need me to be your mother in this moment? Or do you need my opinion about it? So I have to get clarity about what perspective I'm coming from, because I know that you all are women who take care of yourself. Y'all pay your own bills, you know what I mean? Like y'all running life, y'all adulting right now, right? So the same conversation that I would have had with a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, or even in high school is very different than having an adult daughter to say, you know what, wait a minute, do you need a trusted advisor? Because I can give you what I think you should do, but also have to respect the fact that you're gonna do it in the way that feels best for you and not be upset or judge the way you're doing. Or on the flip of that, if you do something different than what I recommend, knowing she don't even know y'all. Listen, they're not gonna always get it right, right? So knowing, okay, she not gonna take the advice on this one, and I'm just gonna pray her through it. Hopefully, she'll see. But even if it doesn't turn out the way that I would have desired for you all, knowing that you're learning something too. So I think as parents, we try to protect our daughters from, and our sons too, to protect you from going through certain things, but also have to realize that you have to learn how to live life too. And that's part of life, to learn and to grow. So as we get ready to close out this segment, what do you, I want you to give some advice to your sisters. So you're gonna look right at the camera, talk to yourself, the version of yourself, you know what women your age are going through, and say something to encourage this next generation of now women who are going to be inspired by this conversation. And will be looking at us to say, you know what, I wanna know, how do I do better? How can I get there? How can I take what you said, no quitting is enough, how do I keep going further and farther without stopping? So I want you to look at the camera and tell your sister out there in the room, encourage her on her journey.
Dear sister, I want you to know that if you're feeling lost, that's okay. That's actually a good thing, because now you're thinking about where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Being in a vulnerable position is a good thing. So don't be swayed by that. I will say, sit down, have your moment with yourself. Even if it's tears that follow, that's okay as well. And then I want you to get up afterwards, and I want you to dry your face, and I want you to sit down and think about what is important to you and why is it important to you. And I feel like once you do that, you can find your purpose. And once you find your purpose, then you'll know how to tackle it. And you'll know how to tackle it because you're gonna go to God. Everything you do, go to God, pray about it, and then He will bring the people in your life, and He will bring a thought or idea into your mind, and you'll be able to just excel with it. I mean, really, that's basically how I got through my entire life into my 30s now, because I'll cry it out, I'll think about it, I'll pray about it, and then God gives me a vision and I take action. So that's what I would say do.
Sister, you are beautiful, you are powerful, and you are so valuable. Never forget who you are. And as an adult, it's okay to recreate who you are, because you are not always what people claimed you were, the titles that they gave you along the way. Create those titles for you, of the powerful, of anything that you want to be in life, you can go after, as long as you just continue to push and believe in yourself. Take time for self-care. Remove yourself from any toxic negative energy that people are bringing around you. And just, like I said, bring yourself to God, continue to pray, find those passions in life that bring you joy, because this journey is about you. It's not about anyone else but you. So do it your way.
Along your journey of whether you are trying to find yourself in the middle of it, going towards the end, always take that time and slow down. There are going to be so many moments that move so fast in the blink of an eye, and you're trying to catch up to it. And you need to focus on the now and really enjoy it. Definitely looking at your surroundings, looking at the people who are in your corner are going to be your A+, A1 day ones, and you're going to really appreciate it because they're going to hold you accountable. Also remember to pray, to meditate, and to reflect on your life and your journey, and focus on where you want to be today, where you want to be tomorrow, and the years to come after.
I would
would say keep going. It's okay to make mistakes. I was a person who I just didn't want to do anything wrong, wanted to get it all right, didn't want anyone to be mad at me. It doesn't work doing it that way. It does not work. And keep going, push through it. When you see and you find yourself in new challenging situations, keep going. I just had a moment where recently actually, where I'm kind of seeing the level up happen. But then there was a whole bunch of stress and there was so many different things that I had to do. And I just had this moment of like, I was crying, and through the growth that I've done, I mean, okay, giving up is not an option. But it was still like, okay, but what do I do now that like I'm here? And to what has already been spoken, but instead of going to I would say my comforting, like, I don't know, my comfort, like self-soothing, actions, I'm like, okay, that's not probably the option. Like we're growing, we're not going back, we're going forward. So have like moments like that, and then go to God. I listen to some praise music, some uplifting music, and I cried it out. I went to God, I explained it to God, and then I was like, God help me. I'm gonna be honest and be able and be willing and be open to letting God help you and guide you, and not you trying to make it happen just your way. Like making sure that God is saying, I approve, or actually, here you go, now please follow this, But then we also get in our own way sometimes. So keep going, don't get in your own way, be open to God, and have grace for yourself.
Wow, well, you heard it from your sisters here. And we always say life is so much better with sisters. I want to thank y'all so much for being with me. I just love and adore each and every one of you. And now the world gets to see why. Now, see, you had a little bit of taste. So let me just tell you this. Don't worry, this is not it. We'll be back. But I want you to know, if you like this video, make sure that you hit that like button, you subscribe to this channel, and make sure you turn on the post notifications, because when we come, we coming for you. And we want to make sure that you don't miss a beat, right? So these ladies are here for you, to support you and to love you through it. And we're coming back with some real talk. So until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.